like 2018 could be another year of the woman. An Associated Press analysis of campaign filings across the country show that a record 320 women so far have filed to run for Congress. The majority are Democrats. Many say the 2016 election prompted them to run, but it seems more women from all across the political spectrum, no matter where they're from or who they're associated with, are dipping their toes into the political waters. Here to talk about that and more, Republican strategist Lauren Zelt. It is good to see you again, Lauren.
Good to see you, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Good to have you here. All right, so 320 women running for Congress, and that number could still go up. I think regardless of where you stand politically, that's a pretty impressive number.
Yeah, it's very impressive, and I think women of all political spectrums are really looking at themselves lately and thinking, how can I contribute to this dialogue? You know, I think we saw, obviously, in 2016 to have a female presidential candidate. Democrats were really excited about that. You know, conservative women would love to see a female president, too. We just, you know, didn't agree with Mrs. Clinton on some things. But, you know, look, we have some really great Republican women running here in our viewing audience. Barbara Comstock represents part of Northern Virginia. Elise Stefanik in New York State, she's a young millennial woman. She's done a really good job in a tough district, and I know she'll be running again. Mia Love out in Utah. So, you know, across the spectrum, I think you're seeing women really engaged right now, and it's a really exciting time.
Yeah, well, what do you credit, I mean, is there a reason, in your estimation, obviously some people are saying, well, it was because of the 2016 election, women didn't like the results of the election, so they're getting involved. But do you feel that that's the same way women are getting involved in the process, or was it just a matter of saying, look, this is our time. It's time for our voices to be heard as well.
You know, I think on the Democratic side of the aisle, you see a lot of enthusiasm. You know, Republicans this year should be running like they're 10, 20 points down. If they're not, they're doing it wrong. So I think on the Democratic side, there's a lot of enthusiasm out there. You know, you had the Women's March and other things that are really motivating people to take action, you know, where they are. But I think, moreover, you know, we're having a really important moment as a country right now. If you look at the Me Too movement, Time's Up, things like that, women are able to speak in a way that they haven't been able to do really ever before. And so I think, you know, feeling more empowered, feeling like we can talk about some of the things that have been affecting women for a long time, you know, people are saying, why not me? Why not, you know, my sister? Why not my mother? Things like that. That's
a good point. But, you know, a lot of people look at the Women's March and they see that as a strictly liberal, progressive, democratic endeavor. I think that's the mold in which a lot of people see that protest as. But you're saying, like, in reality, I mean, this involves all women, not just of one party.
Yeah, you know, it's difficult with the Women's March because, unfortunately, some of the policies that were really promoted at that march don't align with conservative principles. I do know conservative women that went. I wanted to go, but I just didn't really agree with everything, you know, that they were talking about. Sure. But I do think we're having an important moment in our country right now, regardless of party affiliation, where women are feeling empowered and wanting to do more.
Pew Research did a survey that came out this week. It said about 4 years ago, 55% of millennial women identified as Democrats. Now that's up to 70%. What can the Republican Party do to appeal to millennial voters? Because let's be honest, we could say about the Tide Pod eating generation, say what we will about millennials, and I think that's inaccurate to loop them all that way. But the reality is these are the leaders of tomorrow. So how do you get more Republicans on board at a younger age?
Yeah, you know, I think it's important really to stick to the policy issues. So much in what we talk about in the media today is kind of, you know, the latest tweet or something like that, you know, out of the White House or other things. And I think what Republicans can do is talk about the policies that they are working for, like tax reform. You know, a lot of the average American saw about $1,000 back in their paycheck. Because of that, you know, their taxes are going to go down, and even more so in the coming years ahead. So I think that the important thing is for really Republicans to talk about the policy that really affects women and families, you know, jobs, economy, national security, things like that, and not to get too distracted by some of the other things that are out in the news cycle today.
Lauren, just before we go, because I don't have a lot of time left, but I think when you look at the administration as a whole, the president has done a lot to hold up his daughter as a main member of his administration. Are there women in this administration that have served as a role model for future female leaders?
Certainly. You know, at the White House, Mercedes Schlapp is doing, you know, a really good job. She's an alum of the Bush administration. She's in a high-powered communications role at the White House. Obviously, Sarah Huckabee Sanders as well. And we have the first, we have the woman leading the Republican National Committee right now. Yeah. So I think it's good.
I'm saying Ronna Romney McDaniel. That's right. Although she's just Ronna McDaniel now. But yeah. Lauren Zelt, have a great weekend. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
And we're back after this in the Final Five.